Good evening, sports fans, big ballers, shot callers. This is Ken Fry. Welcome from the Grid to the Rim Sports Talk Show. I'm joined by my co-host Monte Brown, my best friend from El Paso, Texas. Our two other
Hey, what's going on?
Good to see you, Monte, like always. Our other two co-hosts are out today,
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Dwayne, Dwayne and Jack. So like I said previously, Dwayne is at a school function. He's a school counselor, and he does a great job. I like what he does for the kids. So good on you, Dwayne, for doing a job like that. We need guys like you.
Job nephew, proud of you, man.
Yeah, we're proud of you, man. We need the right guy to do a job like that to give these kids some good guidance like you do moving forward in life. So I appreciate it, Dwayne. And Jack, is my Navy buddy, and you know we met in the Navy in 2009, and we've been hanging out ever since. And I got out here to Washington State, and he's bowling tonight. He's a big bowler. I used to bowl with him for several years, but yeah, he's in his bowling league tonight. So have fun in bowling tonight, Jack, and hope you get your 300. I know you've been close a couple times, and you messed up towards the end of the game because it's hard to try to get that last strike or two when the pressure's on. But I hope you finally get one, man, because he's been
Good luck,
close.
Jack. Get that 300, man.
All right, let's dive right into it. Play-in tournament. New thing in the NBA the past two seasons. I personally don't like it because I feel like during an 82 game season, if you can't make the top 8 teams in your conference out of 16 teams, I just don't see why we're doing this. But I know it's for TV ratings. It's to try something different. I get that, but I feel like in 82 games, if you can't make the top 8 teams, and I just think it's unnecessary. And I personally don't like it, but obviously in NBA, it's not going to go away. And,
No.
it is what it is, but I'm just not a fan of it. I feel like you got to be in the top 8, man. That's what the 82 games are for, is to do your best and make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do prefer the old way better, for sure. But at at the same time, I see why they did it. I mean, Adam Silver, this new commissioner, he's very innovative. He's always looking for new ideas, and that's why he brought this along. He thought it would just bring more ratings to the NBA. One advantage I believe that this new play-in tournament thing has, it does bring excitement to the late season. You got teams at the bottom fighting for a possible playoff berth, which makes it interesting. It gives us that playoff feel before the playoffs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It gives more importance to the regular season. I think it prevents a lot of those bottom teams from tanking in
good
the play
point.
for. Uh, and I believe that that was the reason for doing this in the first place. And it gives us a chance to see some of the younger NBA players that we don't see as much in the smaller markets. One example I can recall was in 2020. Minnesota was in the playoff tournament. Not too many people watch Minnesota except people in Minnesota, except for when Garnett was there. Well, they had this young kid named Ja Morant. I'm sure some of you heard of him. We got to see him play in that tournament. They lost to Portland, but we got to see him. We got to see his potential, how great he could be, and now look at him. I mean, he's a star in the NBA, one of the best players. So, yeah, I do prefer the old way, but at the same time, I see the pros of doing it, the advantages of having it.
Okay. Yeah, you made some very solid points, Monty. Yeah, it does give you a chance to see some players you can't normally see on some of the smaller market teams, some good up and coming younger talent. So you make a very valid point on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of John Morant, he's become one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. He's had a few issues this season that's disappointed me. Just some bad decisions on his part. You know, a team like that, Memphis, who's a top 2 or 3 seed, he just made some bad decisions. Going to a club, strip club, was flashing a gun, people with cameras. Everybody has cameras these days. We all saw it. Ended up getting suspended for a total of 8 games. They were had a losing record. Those times have been off with him being suspended. Cost him some games, and it could have cost him a lower seed. Just bad decisions. I know he's had some issues in the past. Another gun issue at his house during the pickup game. I believe he threatened a security guard at one time. Punched a teenager at one time. Just a young kid. He might have bad influences around him, whatever the case may be. I don't know. But he was sincere in his apology of this past issue, and I believe him. I think he's going to learn from this and move on. A player like this has the potential of being the face of the NBA, kind of like what LeBron is now. I mean, he's that good of a player, and I think he's going to learn from this, and I'll be watching him. I'm pulling for him.
Yeah, you make some very good points, Monty. He is a young player. I think that's the key thing is he's young. And yeah, he's got a lot of money in his life. He came, he came from humble beginnings and now he's got a lot of money and he's really young and I think you make a valid point about who he hangs out with. I think he needs to surround himself with some better people. Yeah, he just has to
Yes.
make some better decisions, like you said. And I think the whole club thing, to me, that was just him, showing off, in front of his friends, and he's showing off his firearm, and like I
Yeah.
don't think he had bad intentions to actually do anything with the gun, but
Right.
he was just he was just showing off, but it was a bad decision. And like you said, everyone has cameras these days and stuff like that. I think the bigger thing is punching the 17-year-old kid. That got me. That was I got over the whole gun thing in the club fairly easily, but the whole punching the kid,
Mhm.
that one was a little bit harder. But I do think he's a good guy, and
Yeah.
um yeah, I think he'll get past this. I think this has to grow up and mature and
Yeah.
just realize he's got a lot of he has a lot of attention on him. It's not like he's back home anymore where maybe no one's talking about him. Everyone's talking about him. So he has
Yeah.
to realize, he has to realize, yeah, there's going to be attention on you at all times, on and off the court. And he has to make, better decisions and mainly just grow up, just grow up and move past this and get better. I think he will.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what he did. The club. That was nothing illegal. Just a bad look for the NBA, and that's the last thing the NBA needs right now. I mean, it's bad. I mean, ratings are low as it is. We're gonna get into that later, but it just doesn't look good, and I think he's gonna learn from it.
Yeah. Let's go on to another player, Kyrie Irving. My goodness, man. This guy came out in the league with LeBron James in like 2011-12 season, I think was his rookie year, and he got off to a really good start his first several years in Cleveland. Won a ring with LeBron James, upsetting the Golden State Warriors, being down 3 games to 1 in the finals. That shocked everybody,
Mhm.
including myself. I thought the Warriors would win Game 5. I thought that was going to be an easy series, and man, they went all the way to 7 and won it. But it seems like after that, he's had his struggles in every team. Going to the Celtics, going to the Nets. I think he's with the Celtics for like 2 years, and he was with the Nets for like 3 or 4. And then now, of course, everyone knows his recent trade to the Mavs in mid-season. That didn't work out with Luka Doncic. I think it's just him. Like
Yeah.
at first, I was like, hey, it could be anybody. Sometimes it's just the team. Sometimes it's the culture. Sometimes it's just you're a good player on a wrong team that doesn't fit your system. Maybe sometimes. And at first, I thought it might be that, but then I just realized, it's all him. It's just something going on with him, man. He needs to fix it because he's becoming like a team cancer. It seems like, man. So yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on with him, man.
Yeah. Yeah. He forced his way out of the Nets, out of Brooklyn, with Kevin Durant, a person you can win a championship with. And Brooklyn said, well, forget you. We're not going to send you where you want to go. He wanted to go to the Lakers. We're going to send you to Dallas. Kyrie Irving's a ball dominant player. He's got to have the ball, just like Luka. He's got to have the ball. Uh, he's a great player. A little weird, but he's a great player, in my opinion. Next to Isaiah Thomas, the best ball handler I've ever seen. I mean, he's up there. He could shoot the lights out. Can't play lick of defense, but he's great. He's a great player. Went to this team with Dallas, and for whatever reason, chemistry, attitude just didn't work out. I mean, didn't work out at all. Dallas was 8-12 with him. Not that much better without him at 30-32. So the experiment didn't work out. And who knows where he's going to go next year? He might force a trade there. I know Dallas has his own issues. Cuban is always trying to make that team better. This failed. Who knows? Maybe they're a player away. But yeah, I agree with you there. Attitude, big with him. I mean, he's only one with LeBron. I don't know if he's trying to force his way that way or what, but he's played on good teams with too many other good players to not at least gotten close to a ring.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's hardly made the playoffs. I mean, I think maybe a couple times, but not much. Like he hasn't done much since LeBron. I think the Nets made the playoffs a couple times with him and KD, but they never got very far. But
right.
Yeah, something's going on with him. I don't know where he's going to land next year if he stays with Dallas or wherever he goes. But if he does this again next year, where he's all happy and it seems like he's always happy to be there at first, and then but then 2 or 3 weeks later he's acting up. So he needs to fix himself, man, because it's unfortunate because he's a really good player, like you mentioned, very good player, talented player, very good.
Yeah. He's great. One of the best I've seen. I don't know. Maybe put him on a team where he's the only guy that's ball dominant. I mean, I don't know. It was LeBron doesn't have to have the ball all the time. He gets his other players the ball, but I don't know. It's weird. He's too good of a player, and I hope he does better. Well, from one controversial player to another, Rudy Gobert. Tempered swear the other day on the huddle as they were drawing up plays. Got into an argument with Kyle Anderson. Decided to throw a punch at him. Got suspended for the playing game against the Lakers. Possibly cost him that game. I know against OKC tomorrow, but to me, it's deeper than that. You had another player, Jaden McDaniel, who punched the wall, broke his hand, and was not available for the play game. So those two things right there tell me that it's something deeper on that team. They may have had internal issues the whole season or most of the season, and it just blew up there. And we saw what happened.
Yeah, that Rudy Gobert situation is so unfortunate. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's a lot bigger than him, though. There's a lot going on with that team in general, man. They seem to be falling apart. It seems at the wrong time of the year, right? At the playoffs. I watched a lot of talk shows and listened to a lot of pundits about this situation, and Rudy Gobert did throw a punch, but it was at the chest and shoulder, and it was kind of half-heartedly. But the punch was thrown, and everyone saw it. That's the problem. But a lot of people. A lot of pundits think that was an overly harsh punishment. They're suspended for one game when there's a lot on the line. Of course, when they play against the Lakers and end up losing that game, like you said, now they got to try to play the next game else they're out. A lot of people think he shouldn't have been suspended. And the other talk about him was just that the teammate was saying a lot of things. Kyle Anderson, whatever his name was calling him the B word multiple times in a team huddle during timeout. And so basically he was instigating, and Rudy Gobert got tired of it and he threw a punch like, hey man, shut the F, he just like, hey man, get off me, man. Like he got tired of it, and there's been, obviously this is a rumor, but I think it's a very believable rumor. you shouldn't be doing that to a teammate on the sideline, man. If you want him to play harder or you don't like what he's doing, you can talk to him, but you don't gonna be calling him the B word and
Right.
all kinds of crazy things. Like, this is your teammate, man. Just talk to him. You're like, hey, man, like when they're doing this play, man, pay attention to this because you're getting burnt on the backside or you're not protecting the rim or they just need to talk. That's what the
Yeah.
timeout is for. And yeah, I think the other guy has just as much to do with it. I mean, obviously he's not the one who threw the punch, but yeah, he definitely instigated that, in my opinion. And a lot of people think Rudy Gobert is soft, so a lot of people are proud of him for actually sticking up for himself and throwing a punch. I'm not saying fighting is good, but yeah, but he's known to be soft mentally, and yeah, there's a lot of other players around the leagues, and yeah, I'm glad Rudy Gobert finally did something for himself and stuck up for himself and did that. It just was, but it was on TV
Yeah.
where everyone could see it. So
Yeah.
it happened
Yeah.
after the game.
He said that. Yeah. Yeah. He's had that rep, but time and place for everything, and that wasn't the time. I mean, that may have been the most inopportune time to do it when you're fighting for your playoff lives. I know things happen. It's intense. Tempers flare. I mean, both players want to win, I'm sure. You got teammate punching walls because they're losing or because they lost. I mean, you want to win. You don't want to lose. I understand that, but it just that's not the right time. And yeah, like I said, you pull them aside, do what you got to do. You walk away, count to 10, whatever works. But yeah, it's on that team and that record and that position they're in, it wasn't good. I mean, they're lucky to have another shot tomorrow.
Yeah, they're very lucky. They're very lucky, and I don't know how they're gonna do that because they seem like they're falling apart, man. But
Yeah.
um, so NBA TV ratings, um, that's been a big talk lately. The NBA All Star Game was down by 29% this past season. It's the biggest drop off since the 2000 NBA All Star Game and the lockout in 98-99, where I believe, they only played like 50 games that year. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of speculation about why the All Star Game dropped so much. And regular season too isn't quite where it should be. There's been it's kind of stayed the status quo the past couple of years. Nothing much has really changed with the ratings. It's just kind of been even. But the big talk is the All Star Game. There's no defense. I know it's mid season. I know you don't want to get hurt, and and it's a long season, but it's really dropped off. I think because they're scoring like 180 points in the All Star game. I mean, yeah, we want to see dunks, we want to see some action, we want to see some fun stuff, but it's really dropped off. And I think the big reason why is because there's no defense, and then the regular season, not just the All Star game, but in the regular season, there's no traveling's never called, and a lot of people don't like how 65% of the shot selection is three pointers. There's a lot of people out there that don't like how many 3 pointers they shoot. I don't mind a 3 point game, but I do think they shoot too much. Like, I'm not saying they shouldn't. I like a fast paced game, so I'm not against them shooting threes, but um, they do shoot threes way too much. They jack up bad shots on threes, and it's like, yeah, dude, I don't mind you shooting a good one when you're wide open, but they take it too many times. So that's just
Yeah.
my thinking. I do think some other people kind of think the same way because yeah, the NBA has fallen off in recent years.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little bit old school on that as well. Um, I like that inside. Well, a mixture. 3 point around that inside game. This is an era now where everybody shoots threes. You got Carl 7 foot shooting threes. You got Joel Embiid 7 shooting threes. Everybody's shooting now. Everybody, and that, yeah, it's the percentages. I know the shooting percentage goes down in the NBA because of that. It's a lesser percentage shot unless you're Steph Curry, but not everybody's Steph Curry.
Yeah,
All Star game. That's another thing. No defense. Yeah, yeah, it's an exhibition game, but it's not like it was in the 80s where the players took it more serious. I mean, the last time I remember the players of this era taking it serious was that I believe the 2019 All Star game where they were actually playing for money. That fourth quarter was intense. I don't know if you watched that game or remember that game
hmm
where they were D'ing up. one of the best ones I've watched, and maybe they need to go back to that. Another idea I have is maybe they should have every 4 or 5 years, not every year, a USA versus the World All-Star game, where the
Mhm.
American players will play other foreign players.
I love that idea. That's great.
Yeah, not the same year as the Olympics, maybe a year or two before, a year or two after that. But I think that would bring the ratings up. One thing that I did read for this year, the playing game tournament ratings went up higher than the play went last year. There was a double-digit increase for the Lakers and Minnesota, 3.47 million viewers, and that's up 29% from 2.78 was also a double-digit increase at 17%, 2.86 million viewers versus 2.44 million viewers last year. Possibly because of the playoff field, because of that, because more people are going to watch for the playoffs. I don't know. I don't know what they're calling these games, playoff games or regular season games. I don't think they've decided what to call them yet. But yeah, it needs changes. Another reason, maybe just the season's too long. But I don't see them shortening the season, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's a good point, man. Uh, yeah. They gotta do something though. I don't know what they need to do, but they gotta
Yeah,
change something.
yeah. And maybe more people throwing punches on the sideline. I don't know. Not advocating violence, people.
Yeah, they gotta get fans to watch, man.
Yeah,
They gotta get fans to go to the games. They gotta get most people watch it on TV. They really gotta get their TV ratings up. That's where the big ones at, the TV ratings, you know.
yeah,
That's where the most people are gonna do.
yeah. Well, one team in trouble with ratings that get fans to watch are the Lakers. They to get into the play-in tournament, they have these extra days off before they have to face Memphis in the playoffs Sunday. Um, LeBron, 38 years old, had a good second half of the season, had a good second half of this play-in tournament. He's been hurt for a little bit, but when he's in there, he's key. But speaking of key, um, I think in order for the Lakers to win this series and advance to move on, their key player to me is AD. Um, we need to see what we saw in the bubble from him. We need to see what we saw when LeBron was out. We need to see that side of him. And he needs to do this every game, not every once in a while. Stay healthy. He's very injury prone, that's for sure. LeBron's going to do his thing. He's going to get the other teammates involved. He's going to get his 25, 30 points. But it's time to pass that torch on to AD. That's what the Lakers got him for, to be that future star. Looks like LeBron's trying to pass that torch on to him. It's up to him to want it and play like it every game. And we're going to need to see that from him this series.
Uh, I agree with you. Yeah, it is on AD. It can't all be on LeBron. Like I said, LeBron is gonna do his thing. Yeah, it's been like in other years, it's been about the role players. Kobe and
Yeah,
Shaq, we're always gonna get their points every single night. But the role players really stepped up for the Lakers on past teams. Like Derek Fisher, Rick Fox, Robert Ory. There's other guys out there, but it was those were big. That was a key for the Lakers. Was role players stepping up and helping to win games besides the two best players. And even going back to like the 1980s and nines, 80s and nines with Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Byron Scott and those guys. They had really good role players on those games
yeah,
on those teams too. So yeah, I think Lakers got their role players need to step up. I'm not a big LeBron guy, but I do um, respect his game. He's the all-time scoring leader now, past a Laker great. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, one of the
mm,
best ever, and so you can't take that away from him. But I'm just not a big LeBron guy, but I do respect what he does for the game. He's done a lot, playing since high school. So and
yeah,
everyone thought he might be a bust, and obviously he was not. So Yeah, pretty amazing what he's done. Um, Speaking of other playing games, we have two remaining. In the West, we got the Thunder and Timberwolves, and in the East, we got the Bulls and the Heat. For the West, I think that's the easier pick, and I think most people would agree. Are the Timberwolves good enough to win? Yes, they are. But with what we've been talking about on this show and everything, like I think their season's done. They're falling apart. Like you said, they're punching walls and they're punching each other. And yeah, I think their season's done. There's a lot going on with the Timberwolves inside that organization, man. I don't know where it all started from, but there's something going on with those guys. So I got the Thunder. I got OKC Thunder in that game, and Bulls Heat. Yeah, I got the young Bulls, man. I like Zach LaVine and all those guys, and plus the Bulls already won a game, so I feel like they got momentum. Heat lost their first playing game, and the Bulls won their first one. So I like the Bulls because they've already won, and I like their young players better.
Yeah, yeah. The Bulls have a good team. Levine's on that team. DeMar DeRozan has always been a good player in the league. Yeah, momentum, like you mentioned, they should win this game. Miami's going to give him trouble. He got Jimmy Butler, who always brings it in the playoffs. Always. Um,
Absolutely.
he's a scary player. He's always that good. But
Yep.
yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that pick. But I'm going to go opposite in the Western. I think Minnesota's going to win this. They are getting Gobert back. You still got Karl Anthony Towns. Reason why I'm picking them is because they gave the Lakers trouble without Gobert.
Hmm.
So I think they'll beat OKC. Almost made them play that extra game. So outside of them getting want to prove something, I expect him to have a real good defensive game, and that's why I expect him to win that game, despite the troubles that team's having. Getting into the playoffs is a whole another story, but I think they'll win to get in because of that, because they gave the Lakers trouble.
Gotcha. Yeah, you make some solid points on that. Minnesota still is a good, like Minnesota still is a very good team, like you said, and Rudy Gobert will be back with Karl Anthony Towns, like you said. So you're right. They gave Lakers a game, but I still got them losing. But I respect your opinion on that, Monty. They could very well win that game, indeed.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be good. Speaking of good matchups, we got a lot of good matchups in the Western Conference. We have Jack's Phoenix Suns against Golden State, the NBA champs. No, no, no. I'm sorry. Against who are they playing?
Who was that, Monty?
We have the Phoenix Suns playing against
The Clippers.
the Clippers. The Clippers. I don't know what I was thinking that there. That's going to be a good matchup. I think Phoenix is the most dangerous team in the playoffs because you got KD. The team was complete with KD for 8 games, and they were undefeated those 8 games. So it's just scary to me what they're doing in the playoffs with everybody on that roster, with DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul being the floor general that he is. They're going to be scary. Um, we have the NBA champs, Golden State Warriors. You got the big three. Can't count them out. Steph Curry is going to do his thing. Draymond with the defense. Uh, they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough. I know regular season they had a down season, but it's playoff time. You pretty much start from zero. They're going to be the team to watch. We have a matchup that I think is going to go 6 or 7 games, which is my Lakers against the Grizzlies. It's going to be a tough matchup. I know many people are picking the Lakers. Me personally, I'm going for the Lakers. So that's who I'm picking. But Memphis has been one of the better teams in the league all season. They're the second seed for a reason. They're going to be tough. Ja Morant, top 5 player in the league. It's going to be a good matchup. So to me, uh, the opposite of the East, the West has the deeper teams, maybe outside of the bottom team, whoever that's going to be. Those top 7, it could be anybody. Anybody can win the championship or go to the championship from there.
Yeah, I agree. The West is yeah, they had a tight, man. Yeah, their conference was tight this year. No one really had a lot of wins. usually they're someone with like 60 plus wins or high 50s, and it seemed like everyone had 40 some wins. Like, yeah, minus Denver having 53 wins this year. In the Grizzlies were like I think around 50, like 49 maybe, but all the rest of them, from 3 seed on down to 8, it was yeah, it was like everyone had like 42, 43, 44, 45 wins, something like that. Like it was
Yeah.
just very competitive. I mean, I haven't seen that in the West in a while. Usually there's like 2 or 3 really dominant teams. But I agree with you, Monty. I think a lot of people are predicting the Lakers to win. They're a 7 seed. They're predicting them to win because of who they got, LeBron James and AD. Um, not to take anything away from Memphis, because of course they got Ja Morant and they got Dylan Brooks and they got some other really nice guys on that team. But I won't. Yeah, I think the Lakers are gonna win that matchup too. They're a 7 seed. They're still the Los Angeles Lakers though. But I won't be surprised if the Grizzlies handle the business also. But I still
Yeah.
think Lakers are going to do that one. And the Kings Warriors, yeah, I'm with you. That's a California matchup, and this is the first year in like I don't know how long where all 3 California teams made the playoffs. So that's
Yeah.
interesting too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. The Kings
but
coach of the year. So yeah, Mike
yeah,
Brown.
but Warriors are just like the Lakers. They're dangerous because they've been there, done this, and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry got 4 rings together, man, and they've been there
Yeah.
6 times. So they won 4 and lost 2, and like they got a lot of playoff experience. They just didn't have quite the same year like you mentioned. But the Kings are a young and dangerous team. I got the Warriors win that series, but I think it's gonna go 6 or 7 also. But the Kings are dangerous, man. They got Malik Monk, they got Fox, they got Sabonis.
Yes.
They and this is their first time making the playoffs in 16 years. That's I think is what's hurting them is because they haven't been in the playoffs in so long, and the Warriors have been in the playoffs every year for God knows how long now. So the
Yeah.
Warriors have an advantage of that, even though they're a lower seed.
Yeah.
Um, Suns Clippers, like you said, yeah, that I don't know. I don't even know what to think of that. The 4 or 5 matchups are always the hardest, but I got the Suns on that because of who they got, KD and like I said, Chris Paul and uh, Booker, Devin Booker. Yeah, they're tough, man.
Yeah. I forgot about him. Yes.
I know Clippers got some stars too, but uh, yeah, I think the Suns are gonna get that one. For the East, um, the interesting matchups I got for the East is the other 4 or 5 seed Cavs and Knicks. Uh, that's gonna be a hard matchup too. But the problem with the Knicks is Julius Randle's hurt.
Yes.
So that gives the Cavs an advantage. Not saying the Knicks still can't pull it out, but their other players really got to step up. But I don't think it's gonna be out the whole series. They got to hold on the
Yeah.
first couple of games. They start off the first 2 games on the road, and I think they got to split that. I think Julius Randle is going to come back. He sprained his ankle at the end of the year. He's been out for like 2 weeks, and I think they're expecting him to come back, but they don't know when. They just can't be too far down. He needs to come back, and I still have a chance to win this series. If they could split the first 2 home games, I still like their chances. But I think the Cavs are going to pull that one out. Um, the Nets and Sixers, everyone thinks the Sixers are going to win that easily, but I don't think so. I think the Nets are going to give them a game. They're another young and upcoming team. They got Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, Yuta Watanabe, the first Japanese ever born player to play in the NBA. They got Dinwiddie. They got Steph Curry's younger brother, Steph Curry. Like they got a team. So I won't be surprised if they can pull off that upset. I think the same Sixers will do it, but I will not be surprised if I could see that going 6 or 7 games. Um, Celtics Hawks, I got the Celtics pretty easily in that one. I think they'll win it in 5. And the same thing with the Bucks and possibly the Bulls or the Heat, which I think is going to be the Bulls. I think the Bucks just got too much. They do have a couple players hurt. Middleton's hurt, but I think he just came to practice today, so I think he's back. I don't think he went full speed, but he was back in practice. I think he's going to come back in that series. But even if he doesn't come back in that series, I think the Bucks are just too strong. They got Giannis, man, and they got a lot of other really good players besides him. So I think the Bucks are going to win that one in 5. They might sweep, but the Bulls might get one game just because of some Bucks players being hurt. But I think the Bucks got that easily, man.
Yeah. The Bucks are clearly maybe the best team in the NBA. They should easily win that series. I like Cleveland a lot. Uh, since LeBron's left, they've shown improvement every year, and they brought a superstar to get him over the hump, and Donovan Mitchell on that team.
Oh
Um,
yes.
yeah, yeah. So, boy, if when Julius Randle comes back, who knows how that series is going to go? That's going to be something to see. I think um, the Hawks will give the Celtics more trouble than most people think. I've always been a fan of Trae Young. I've always liked small players. He's feisty. He can shoot for free. He's a great player. He tends to show up in the playoffs. They're not going to win the series, but I think they're going to give him trouble. I think they'll steal 2 games from that. So yeah, it's going to be tough. My favorite there in the East to come out will be the Bucks. Um, the Sixers may give some finesse trouble. You got Embiid, who's probably going to get the most valuable player award this year, but we'll see what happens. That's going to be interesting to watch. It's not as deep as the West. I think the best team to win it all is in the East.
Yeah, I agree. The Bucks and the Celtics both have the best records in the NBA. They have the most wins. I think the Bucks got 58 and the Celtics have 57. And the top team in the West, Denver, has 53. So the East is they have more separation with their teams compared to the West, like you said. Um,
Yes.
in closing, I want to ask the fans a question or our viewers. I'm sorry. Are you guys an MJ or LeBron guy?
Ooh,
Post your views on our page. And
yes.
thanks for watching our show, though. Again, this is our show is called From the Grid to the Rim Sports Talk, and please leave your comments. And I want to know if you're a LeBron or MJ guy. I'm MJ.
MJ to me was the better player. LeBron is closer to Magic to me than MJ. So yeah, MJ was a better player, hands down. I think we'll get into some reasons why for that in later shows. About why I think that there's a few things LeBron needs to do to get over the hump. But yeah, I have to go with MJ. Yeah, like Ken mentioned, leave your comments. If you have any other suggestions for us to talk about, we welcome them. Whether you agree, disagree, like what we're talking about, subscribe, and we'll see you guys.
Peace. Salute. See you guys later, man.